You're listening to Short Inspirations from Ralph. It's time to start living. Part 4. And so the opposite of really living, like we've said, is to retreat into your shell, so to speak. It's a mental thing. It's self-protection because you are in a very vulnerable state. And so you can't cope with the normalcies of life. And I know when I was a young man, I was pretty insecure and had this cage around me of inferiority complex or lack of self-worth. And I even sought help for it from a pastor, and he gave me the best advice that anyone could give. He said, just read the Bible as though you're dying of thirst or hunger and you have to have it. And so I did that, and about 18 months later I came out of the cave. And I realized then that caves are emptied when Jesus shows up. And Peter, who knew all about Jesus calling him out of his cave and called him into greatness, said in 1 Peter 1:3, "Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. In his great mercy, he has given us new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead." If only that great Chinese emperor, Xian Shi Hua, had known this Jesus who held the keys of death and hell. He was looking for a key, but try as he may, he couldn't create a pathway into eternity with God. Only Jesus can do that. He has the keys. He rolls away the stone and he calls the dead back to life. And in the middle of your doom and gloom, there is an answer. In the middle of my doom and gloom, so many years ago, there was an answer. Jesus becomes the bridge. He bridges the gap between us and God, between our imperfection and his holiness. Jesus is saying, it's over. I declare a new thing in your life. It's a new day. It could be anything that's encasing you or trapping you in. Perhaps it's something that happened long ago that causes pain in your life. Perhaps it's that you haven't yet met Jesus or you want to return to him. I would implore you, get out of that cave. He's willing to call you out. You see, the power of the church is an empty cave, an empty tomb. God does not speak to present pain so much. He speaks to future potential. And God has not given us a spirit of fear, 2 Timothy 1:7, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. In all these things we are more than conquerors, not just conquerors, more than conquerors, through him who loved us. People, it really is time to start living. The Bible is full of characters who needed to be called out, who needed to be rescued, if you like, who needed to hear the voice of God and to get hope for the future. Gideon was one of those examples, and it's worth reading his story, because when God called him, he was in a cave, a place where he was hiding from his enemies, actually in a wine press, threshing wheat. He was literally and mentally in a very low place, no confidence, frazzled. God didn't wait for him to get strong. He calls us when we're weak. He called Gideon when he was weak and vulnerable and defeated on the inside. And he whispers great dreams in our ears. He doesn't wait until we've got it all together with perhaps tons of money or education or power. He talks to you when you are in your dark cave. And he said to Gideon, "You are a mighty man of valor," but Gideon was nowhere near that. And to cut a long story short, Gideon was used by God in a great battle and defeat of the enemies of Israel. And that's because Gideon chose to listen to God rather than to his own inferior, destructive thoughts. God bless you today.